Hey, grade 8s. We're just going to do some quick review on our integers unit. So we were looking at mostly multiplying and dividing integers. There's also some order of operations, so we're also having to remember addition and subtraction of integers from grade 7. But for now, I'll just quickly review multiplication division. So the rule of multiplication division is that essentially if you have two of the same, so if you have two positives or if you have two negatives, the answer is going to be positive. If you have one of each, one negative, one positive, the answer will be negative. So we have a problem like what we have here. Negative 3 times by positive 4. Let me just quickly change this. There we go. Negative 3 times by positive 4, all you do is look at the absolute value numbers. So I have 3 times by 4. 3 times by 4 is 12. It's a negative and a positive. Since I have one of each, I have one negative. My answer is negative. So the answer would be negative 12. Okay, so you can just look at the numbers, solve the multiplication or division, and then look at the signs after to determine whether it's negative or positive. Okay, so over here, I have positive 18 divided by negative 3. Well, I know that 18 divided by 3 is 6. There's a positive and a negative, so the answer is negative. Here I have negative 7 times by negative 5. 7 times by 5 is 35. And a negative times by a negative gives me a positive, so my answer is positive 35. Okay. 45 divided by negative 9. Negative 45 divided by negative 9. 45 divided by 9 is equal to 5. Negative and negative is a positive. There we go, and there's our answers. That's simple. So just do the multiplication of the division as if both numbers are positive, and then you can look at the signs to determine whether your answer should be negative or positive. Okay, just doing some order of operations, some BEDMAS questions. So here, I have negative 3 minus, and then in brackets, I have 4 minus 11 divided by negative 7. So what do I need to do first? Well, following BEDMAS, and remember division, multiplication, it's whichever one from left to right. Addition, subtraction, whichever one comes first from left to right. But regardless, I have to do brackets first. So I'm going to do 4 minus 11 first. So this is 4 minus positive 11. Positive 4 minus positive 11. The positive signs aren't there, but since there's no negative signs, they're positive. So 4 minus 11, well, 4 minus 4 would be 0. 4 minus 5 would be negative 1. 4 minus 6 would be negative 2, and we could keep going backwards. But 11 is 7 greater than 4, so it would be going 7 less than 0. There's a lot of different ways that you can try to figure this one out. But the answer is negative 7. Okay, I'm going to want to just rewrite everything. So I have negative 3, and I can put brackets around that negative 3 if I want to keep that there. Minus negative 7. Just put brackets around that just so that this minus sign doesn't get confused as a negative sign. So minus negative 7, and then divided by negative 7. Okay, now what do? I need to do division before I do subtraction, so I have to solve this first. Negative 7 divided by negative 7. Well, 7 divided by 7 is 1. It's a negative and a negative, so it's positive 1. Now I have negative 3 stays up front. Make sure you don't just see positive 1 and then think, oh, well, it's 1 minus negative 3. 1 minus negative 3. That's not right. Okay, the negative 3 is in front, so I bring it down and I keep it in front. It's negative 3 minus positive 1. Okay, negative 3 minus positive 1. I'm subtracting a positive, so my number is going to be getting smaller by 1. So it's going to be equal to negative 4. There's our answer. Okay, one more. Maybe try to do this quickly yourself. Press pause and do this quickly yourself before I do it. And here we go. Negative 8 times negative 2. Wait, do I do this first? Let's look at my equation. It's negative 8 times negative 2 plus positive 15 divided by negative 3. I have to do multiplication and division. Now in bed mass, if you just write bed mass, you might see, oh, division, then multiplication. I have to do always division first. No, that's not true. You go from left to right. Doesn't matter which one is first. So I'd first have to solve this multiplication. 8 times 2 is 16. It's a negative and a negative, so my answer is positive. Okay, and now this is plus positive 15 divided by negative 3. Good to write the whole thing out. If I just wrote plus positive 15, I might be led to believe that I have to add next, but I don't. I have to do the division next. So 15 divided by 3, well, 15 divided by 3 is 5. It is a positive and a negative, which gives me a negative. So the answer is negative 5. The 16 stays up front. It's positive 16 plus negative 5. I could change this if I wanted to, and I would get positive 16 minus positive 5. Well, that's just normal subtraction. 16 minus 5 is equal to 11. Positive 11. Okay, so there's my answer. Okay, so always just look carefully at what you need to do. Keep your problem in the order as you find certain solutions. Keep them in the order that they were before, and just be really careful with that order of operations. Don't try to do it all in your head when you're having to do the final check-in quiz tomorrow. Make sure that you're writing it out on paper, checking that your solution is right, and then entering in your answer on the Google form. Okay, quickly going over finding a mean, which doesn't mean that someone is mean and angry. It's not an angry temperature or a temperature that's a jerk. It just means the average temperature. So mean means average. Okay. So the daily, weekly high temperatures last week were, so the daily highs were negative 4 degrees Celsius, negative 8, 0, positive 2, negative 3, positive 8, and lastly, negative 2. So what was the mean temperature for the week? Well, to find an average, to find a mean, you add up all of your values, and then you divide by how many values you have. So let's add all of these up. So I have negative 4 plus negative 8 plus 0. Even though 0 is 0, I still have to include it as one of my values. It's still an integer. Plus positive 2 plus negative 3 plus positive 8 plus negative 2. Okay? So let's go through and figure this out. Negative 4 plus negative 8. Well, I have 4 negatives, and I get 8 more negatives. That's going to give me 12 negatives. Plus 0 is still, doesn't change it, so I'm still at negative 12. Plus positive 2, so I'm getting 2 bigger. So I'm going from negative 12 to negative 10. Plus negative 3, so it's down to negative 13. Plus 8 brings me up to negative 5. And then plus negative 2 brings me down to negative 7. Okay, so I was able to sort of go along and do it in each of my heads. You might want to start on the left and be like, okay, negative 4 and negative 8 is negative 12. Okay, plus 0 is equal to negative 12. Plus positive 2 is equal to negative 10. 10 plus negative 3 is equal to negative 13, and sort of just go by one step at a time. Plus positive 8 is equal to negative 5, and then negative 5 plus negative 2 is equal to negative 7. Okay? In total, though, the total of all these is negative 7. Okay? Is that the mean? Is that the average? No, that's the add it all up. That doesn't mean that the average temperature each day was negative 7 for the week. Okay, so that's sort of like, the average is sort of like that middle ground of all the temperatures. Because when we look at the temperatures, negative 8 was the lowest, positive 8 was the highest. It wouldn't make sense that negative 7 would be the average. would be the closest to sort of the middle of those numbers, because we haven't divided yet. So we have to add up all the numbers, and then we divide. So it's going to be negative 7 divided by how many numbers we have. Divided by, well, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 numbers because there's 7 days in a week. So negative 7 divided by 7, that's positive 7 because there's 7 days, is equal to 7 divided by 7 is 1. Negative divided by a positive is negative. So the average temperature was negative 1. So the mean temperature, the mean temp was negative 1 degrees Celsius. Okay, make sure you understand how to find the average. That will be important for one question. Okay, let me know if you have any questions as you're reviewing. I will help you as best as I can, and good luck. Have a good day.